very warm welcome to you all to this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast over Equinoxe television. We're live from Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Babler Jonathan. We are Equinoxe television. We are independent. We are fearless. We are credible. Thank you for trusting us. In our top stories, shock and anger have gripped Kuseri in the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon after a police anti-drug operation ended in the death of two young men, provoking protest and unrest across the Wali Fudu neighborhood. Residents are demanding justice and accountability as authorities remain silent over the deadly incident. Recurring floods have once again submerged homes, cut off roads, and disrupted daily life across several Bonaveri neighborhoods in the Douala 4 subdivision. And in response, the Douala 4 Council has stepped up drainage inspections and community cleanup efforts to reduce the risk of further flooding. Those are top stories. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for staying without tension. Gripped the city of Kuseri in the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon yesterday night after a law enforcement operation turned deadly, leaving two young men dead and sparking protests from residents. The incident occurred in the Wali Fudu neighborhood, where officers from the Special Intervention Rapid Response Group, that is the special group, that is the Équipe Spéciale d'Intervention Rapide AC branch of the police force known as AC, were carrying out an anti-drug operation targeting suspected drug users. And the situation turned deadly. According to local reports, officers attempted to arrest a suspect when they were confronted by a crowd of residents. Reports say the situation quickly escalated and officers opened fire after fearing they were at risk of being attacked. One young man was fatally shot during the confrontation, while other persons were reportedly killed. The other person was reportedly killed after being attacked by the police officers in the course of the confrontation, and the death triggered protests across the neighborhood, with residents blocking roads and demanding answers, transparency and accountability from security, administrative authorities and other authorities of the region and the nation as a whole. As of Thursday, that's today, the Cameroonian authorities had not issued an official statement detailing the circumstances of the operation of the actions of the officers involved. The situation remains quite tense in that part of the country. Heavy rains in the city of Douala are taking a growing toll on market vendors, with damp conditions encouraging mold, making access roads slippery and reducing sales. Beyond the economic losses, concerns are mounting over food safety as poor storage conditions threaten the quality of perishable goods. In response to this, the Douala City Council has launched a sensitization campaign to raise awareness among traders on proper food handling and preservation to protect the health of consumers. Now, Cedric Chakucho was there, and he tells us more.
During the rainy season, excessive humidity and heat promote the rapid proliferation of mud and bacteria. For roadside vendors, preserving the quality of food products requires strict measures to prevent losses and food poisoning.
C'est une saison pluie, il y a la boue partout. Quand il pleut, on couvre la marchandise avec les nylons. Pour protéger nos marchandises, nous, une comme moi.
To protect our goods, someone like me who sells fresh products has to leave them exposed to the rain.
Qui ont pour possibilité de...
In addition to damaged goods, traders are expressing a drop in their daily income due to the unsanitary conditions of the market is a great task as they struggle to make their way through the slippery path. We invested money to build tables. Now we're being asked to protect our foodstuffs properly. How can we manage this during the rainy season and with all the mud? In a bid to find solutions, elements of the Douala City Council are on the field so as to sensitize the vendors on the importance of keeping their goods neat for consumption. We asked that the vendors to maintain cleanliness. Each vendor should have their own broom and trash can. Everyone should sweep in front of their stall and the whole boulevard will be clean. Today we called this meeting to remind the vendors of the importance of having a clean market.
Ce qui concerne le premier point, c'est le désordre. Le deuxième point, c'est l'insalubrité. Et le troisième point, c'est l'amélioration de l'image de la ville.
We know it's difficult, but they must make an effort to keep the market clean for the good of their consumers.
Tenir l'ordre, c'est-à-dire de vendre après les dalettes.
With the rainy season, vigilance remains essential. Traders and local authorities will have to redouble their efforts to limit health risks.
Recurring floods continue to disrupt daily life in several neighborhoods of Bonaberi in the Douala 4 subdivision, leaving homes submerged, roads impassable, and residents struggling after every heavy rainfall. And public institutions have not been spared either to tackle the situation. The Douala 4 Council has intensified field inspections and community cleanup campaigns aimed at cleaning up drainage canals and mitigating the risks of further flooding. Equinoxe accompanied the municipal authorities during one of these inspection tours and now report.
A narrow wooden plank serves as a bridge into the 19th District Police Station in Bonaberi. Police officers, visitors and residents carefully walk across it to reach the office as the entire compound remains submerged in foul-smelling stagnant water. With no proper drainage channels, rainfall leaves the station cut off, exposing the harsh reality of chronic flooding in the area. The same situation is experienced in neighborhoods such as Foreba, Sodzeko and Ryle, where blocked and encroached drainage channels cause rainwater to overflow into homes, forcing many families indoors and leaving behind costly damage.
This is quartier excellence, also block dynamic. So now like this, when water cannot pass, people in the house they face difficulties. Their things are destroyed like TV, radio, fan, everything destroyed in the house.
During an inspection of these flood-prone areas on Thursday, Douala 4 Council Mayor, Professor Edward Heve Mobimpa, accompanied by council staff armed with cutlasses and spades, cleared drains blocked by weeds and plastic waste.
This place used to be inundated and there's no way to move. People cannot move freely because of water. But now that Michel the Mayor has come out with his workers and the gutter is open, we are sure that even if it rains now, water will flow. There will be no inundation here.
He also denounced the construction of buildings on drainage channels, describing it as one of the major causes of recurrent flooding.
Au lieu de suivre le trajet, service technique.
In Sodzeko, residents actively took part in reopening drains, an effort commended by the mayor, who urged the population to keep waterways free of waste and illegal construction. He further announced that drainage improvement works will soon begin in Ryle, while asking police authorities at the flooded Bonaberi station to submit their needs for possible intervention by the municipal council.
A population census controversy is brewing in Banga in the Mongo Division littoral region of Cameroon after residents raised concerns over what they describe as irregularities in the recently completed exercise, and during an evaluation meeting, the divisional officer of that municipality assured locals that another census will be conducted following complaints over the organization of the process and discrepancies in the figures released, and residents are questioning how the population dropped from 39,000 in the previous census to 31,000 this year, calling for greater accuracy and transparency. And the municipal authority, notably the divisional officer of Banga, has instructed the census agents to use the remaining about 6 days to update the figures, to put the figures right as far as the population of Banga is concerned. Mala Glory tells us more. We'll be coming back to this report in our subsequent news editions as discussions continue in Cameroon over the question of presidential capacity and a possible power vacuum. Legal experts and academics are weighing in to provide clarity on the constitutional provisions surrounding the issue. Calls are growing for the Constitutional Council to play its role in addressing the concerns and preventing what some describe as a potential institutional deadlock. For me, Armstrong Standard.
For decades, citizens in Cameroon have grown accustomed to the president's frequent short private stays in Europe. But with the head of state's absence from national territory now exceeding 46 days, the matter has drawn national and international attention. Professor Jean-Calvin Abaoyono, a constitutional law specialist, described the situation as a matter of global curiosity. His intervention follows a petition signed by Member of Parliament Honorable Jean-Michel Nenchu, who asked the Constitutional Council to declare a vacancy of power and a permanent incapacity of the man of November 6, 1982 to carry out his duties as head of state in Cameroon. The petition drew swift reactions, notably from Cameroon's Minister of State Jacques Famendongo, a key figure of the ruling CPDM political party, who rejected Ninchu's concerns outright. The first national vice president of the CRM party, Mamadou Mota, and renowned legal minds, Barrister Alice Nkom, also made public statement on the matter. In an 8-page document, Professor Abaoyono deplored what he called the laxity of the Constitutional Council in failing to use its powers to inform citizens and end speculation over the president's unexplained absence from Yaoundé, the seat of institutions. He called on Justice Clement Tangana and members of the council to fully assume their role as regulators of institutions under Article 46 of the Constitution of Cameroon, which states that the Constitutional Council shall be the competent body in constitutional matters. He further cited Article 47, which gives the council authority to rule sovereignly on conflicts of jurisdiction between institutions of the state of Cameroon. To illustrate his points, Professor Abaoyono referenced Burkina Faso in West Africa in February 2022, where the Constitutional Council declared a vacancy of power on its own initiative to prevent an institutional deadlock. In short, nothing prevents the Constitutional Council from freeing itself from the grip of the executive and pulling Cameroon out of the impasse it has been plunged into in recent years. He concluded, amid ongoing speculations over President Paul Biya's ability to continue to lead Cameroon. The presidency in Cameroon has not issued an official statement on the president's whereabouts.
And that's it for the first part of this newscast. Talking Point comes up next. Thank you for joining us today. Our guest, Dr. ETAH EWANE, is a Cameroonian academic, political scientist, and political commentator, joining us in this edition of Talking Point. Doctor, you're welcome to the program. You just came back to the country and you traveled to the southwest region of the country, notably to the locality of Bangem. Share with us your experience traveling to one of the crisis-stricken regions of the country.
Yeah, actually traveling to Bangem, for example, it gives you the impression that maybe this security situation is improving. But then when you go to other parts of the same region, you clearly get the impression that the security challenges in the northwest and southwest regions are far from being over. I actually had to travel to Kumba, but I couldn't because of an incident that happened in Ekona and some security challenges in Muyuka. So it tells you that Cameroon, again, is still facing severe security and governance challenges. So I've made interventions in the past, and notably with you, we've discussed this conflict from the time it started in 2016, and we are in 2026, and it's over 10 years, and Cameroon is yet to find a solution to a problem that can easily be solved if those that govern the country show some kind of political will.
ETAH EWANE, what do you think about what seems to be a dead silence of the government over the situation in the northwest and southwest regions of the country for the past months? There's been no statement, no move, practically no efforts being made to resolve the conflict efforts that are known to the public. Maybe there may be some efforts under the table or on the ground to resolve the conflict, but we've seen no move for the past months. What do you think about this?
Well, I think this has been a strategy of the current government, letting every situation to deteriorate, and so in the hope that it helps them to further fragilize the populations and that they can better take control of them. Now, this is a problem that began as a single political problem, and that could easily be resolved at the very beginning. But over the years, the conflict, we've seen it being transformed. It's taken different shapes. I mean, it's actually moved from political grievances, and we see it becoming more of something that looks more like an organized crime. And the government takes entire responsibility for this. I mean, like you rightly put it, at the beginning, there were some efforts being made to reach out to the people, to reach out to the young people who have gone into the bushes, those that have taken up arms against the regime. I mean, of course, this is legitimate. People have a right to claim for their rights when they feel that they are being marginalized in the country that they consider to be theirs. And for the government to let it to deteriorate to the point that the young people take up arms, I think it's a clear failure, leadership failure on the part of the President of the Republic. I mean, he takes entire political responsibility for whatever happens in Cameroon. The people elected him in power and not his ministers. So if there is a governance failure, it begins from the top, from the president himself. So I personally attribute all failures to the president. And we see our country, the economies of the two regions have been completely dampened over the years, and it's not getting better. And I don't see it changing in the coming years. If nothing is being done, you cannot let a conflict to deteriorate with the hope that people will be exhausted. Those fighters never get exhausted. And to think that you can use the military solution to suppress grievances that are real, that everyone acknowledges, including those in leadership position, I mean, it's a true failure of governance.
You're accusing the government or government authorities, but on the other side, they are also accusing separatist fighters, saying that they are unwilling to put an end to this conflict. They are the ones orchestrating all the violence and so on. This is what is being said on the side of government. But away from this, let me have your take on the present state of the nation, the present situation of Cameroon, in a situation where there seems to be a deadlock in governance. A new government is being awaited since the October 12, 2025 presidential election. The President of the Republic is now out of the country for more than a month now, and there are quite a lot of debates over these issues. Let me have your take on these.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to give people the impression that I'm trying to exonerate the separatists from their own responsibilities. But then, of course, they take a share of what is happening in Cameroon. They take a responsibility, part of it. But the responsibility to bring order in Cameroon also in the hands of the government. It is the government that has been elected by the people and not the separatists. It is the responsibility for the government to call the separatist fighters to order when they think they are derailing. Of course, whether we like it or not, the separatist fighters are also Cameroonians. And what we are experiencing in the Northwest and the Southwest, it's quite exasperating because we find people dying on both sides. So whether it's the soldiers who are dying or being killed or the separatists, there is just one loser in this conflict, and it is the nation Cameroon. Now, you have made mention of the long absence of the President of the Republic. Again, this is a clear indication that Cameroon still faces serious governance and security challenges. We find that the absence of the President is raising questions again about the health of the President, which is not supposed to be private. The President is not a private person. The people of Cameroon have the right to know about the status of their president. They elected him. He has to be physically fit. He has to be in the best health in order to be able to serve the people. Also, his long absence has generated a new kind of discussion in Cameroon. The question of the succession issue. It's on every lip. So, the president is absent. We have the president signing decrees from his alleged place of residence in Geneva. So the big question Cameroonians are asking themselves right now is who is actually ruling Cameroon? Is the president's absence still legal? 45 days after he left Cameroon. Is this constitutionally permissible? So this absence of the president raises a serious question of governance. Cameroon still faces serious governance challenges, coupled with the ongoing security challenges in the northern part of Cameroon, with the Cameroon state struggling with the Boko Haram insurgency, in the northwest and southwest with the secessionist struggle that is going on, in the eastern region with sporadic incursions from rebels coming from the Central African Republic. So, in total, we can say there are maybe just 5 or 4 regions in Cameroon that are experiencing some degree of stability, because we cannot say there is stability in the littoral with people coming in from different parts of the country. You have a huge influx of refugees or displaced persons, internally displaced persons from the Northwest and Southwest. Here again, it increases security challenges in major cities like Douala and Yaoundé.
Now, different initiatives have been taken by some Cameroonians, especially those who are in the diaspora, in view of pushing for change in the country, in view of pushing for what they qualify as the restoration of the truth of the ballot box. On one hand, we have some Cameroonians under the Project C initiative, the Project Cameroon initiative led by people like senior journalist Eric Chinje and barrister Are Obenson. And on the other hand, we have other people like Dr. Ben Aki and other persons who are fighting to restore what they call the truth of the ballot box with Issa Chiroma Bakari, and saying that they are going to come back to the country and install Issa Chiroma Bakari as president. What do you think about all these initiatives in the diaspora where you are?
The country Cameroon is a collective good. It belongs to us all. And the country faces serious security and governance challenges like I rightly mentioned. It is incumbent upon every Cameroonian of goodwill to try to find solutions, either individually or as groups of Cameroonians coming together to try to help the country. So if Mr. Eric Chinje, the president-elect Issa Chiroma, they're all making efforts to try to kind of bring back some of the lost dignity to Cameroon. I think that's their right. They have a right to do that. Every Cameroonian, we call upon every Cameroonian to make an effort, wherever they are, and whatever capacity to try to contribute to the restoration of peace in Cameroon.
Why do you refer to Issa Chiroma Bakari as president-elect, whereas there is a president who was declared winner by the competent institution and sworn in? That's President Paul Biya, but you're still referring to Issa Chiroma Bakari as president-elect.
Well, I'm not the one referring to him as president-elect. He calls himself president-elect. Every document, every communique he sends out there, he signs it as president-elect. So I'm just repeating what he's saying. I'm not the one referring to him, attributing him this new title. No, not me. It's not from me. It's from him. He calls himself president-elect, and I just repeated what he says about himself.
Now, Dr. ETAH EWANE, as a political scientist, tell us, how can Cameroon be moved from where it is now to a better situation?
Well, everything begins and ends with dialogue. And what Cameroon needs today is political will to engage in a meaningful dialogue involving all layers of the Cameroonian society, those who are for and those who are against the government. Like I said, it's a collective good. We are all children of the same country. Every Cameroonian is a Cameroonian in its own right. Nobody asked President Paul Biya permission to become a Cameroonian. Nobody asked President Issa Chiroma the right to become a Cameroonian. Nobody asked Maurice Kamto permission to become a Cameroonian. We are all Cameroonians in our individual rights. And so we need to talk to each other as children of this country to try to find solutions to the problems that we are facing. Without dialogue, whatever you do, you can have quick fixes, but such solutions are not sustainable. Sustainable solutions will require meaningful dialogue involving every Cameroonian, Cameroonians of all walks of life. Of course, dialogue, political dialogue, it might take so much time. It could be slow, but it will be more effective than looking for military solutions. Remember, every day you kill an Amazonian soldier, you produce a new one, or you produce two more, because these people have families, they have brothers, they have sisters. Every time a family loses a member, you increase. Sometimes you look at some of these terrorist organizations like Hygiene in the Sahel, Boko Haram. Today you find young people volunteering to enroll within the ranks of these organizations out of the desire to revenge, to retaliate for their lost ones. So we have to avoid that kind of a situation in Cameroon, where people will be forced to take up arms, young people will be forced to join terrorist organizations for the simple fact that they want to retaliate, they want to revenge from family members that have been killed rightfully or unrightfully. So we need to engage in meaningful dialogue.
Dr. ETAH EWANE, thanks a bunch for making out time for this conversation. And that's it for today's edition of the 6 p.m. Primetime Newscast. Thank you for staying with us. God bless Cameroon. God bless Africa. Goodbye.